Now I'm not sure, you may or may not see curated lists. This is a new feature we just released. This is something where, so there's two different kinds of user accounts in Pivot. There's what we call the regular researcher account, which everybody can use. And then there's also an administrator account. Those that have an admin account can actually create curated lists of funding records. So, if you know for a particular department or group of faculty, if you're doing your searching, you can say, okay, I'm going to create a list of these, highlight some interesting records, and that way everybody at the university can see those curated lists. And it looks something like this. So I have one curated list here. Here's some engineering opportunities, and there's the items on there. So that's all the kinds of things you'll see on that home page. I want to shift gears a little bit and talk about profiles now. So we go out and we create these profiles. And basically the way we do it is we go out and identify, okay, University of La Verne, go out to the website, okay, here are all the different schools and departments, and then here are all the faculty affiliated with those. So actually if you go, here I'll show you what we have here. If you click on the Profiles tab, you'll see, here's what we have, the different colleges, arts and science, and then the different departments within those. And then you can click on View Profiles to see all the profiles we have for those. Now, we go out and we gather this information based on what we can find on departmental websites, researchers' CV pages, and things like that. So it's possible, if that information is not totally current, our information won't be. Even if that information is more current, sometimes there's a little lag between what we have in our database versus what you have on your website. And it can be a big lag, I'll be honest. We're actually working on that editorial process to speed that up. But we do review profiles for subscribing schools. We do it at least once a year. So sometimes they're going to be outdated, or if there's new faculty, they may not show up right away. I'll show you there are ways, though, that you can update the information, and also how you can suggest, say, if you're not in there and you want to be added, you can say, hey, please add me to the database, and then you can add some information, and we can include you in there. So let's take a look here. Kathleen Farkas has a profile, and she's claimed it. So like if you log in, you go up and click on your name in the upper corner, you'll see it'll either say your profile or claim profile. When it says claim profile, it means you haven't claimed yours yet. Or perhaps we don't have a profile for you. If it says your profile, that means it is claimed, it is linked together. So this gets a little confusing sometimes. Anybody at the university can have a user account, whether they're student, faculty, or staff, right? And that allows people to access it and search and save searches and share. But only select individuals will have profiles. It's meant to be for people that are actually engaged in research. So, primarily faculty members, but then also, we'll have sometimes there'll be some postdocs in there or some staff members perhaps. And then you claim your profile. That means I'm this person, and that will then give you the right to update the information. And it also enables that advisor function so that we can make suggestions. It can use that algorithm to suggest funding opportunities. So let's look at Kathleen's profile. And you're going to find some have pictures, some don't. That's actually, so we used to have an older legacy product called COS Expertise, which was a database that individuals could go in and add their info. Anybody who had people could go in and add pictures, and so some of those will show up here. We are going to be adding that capability back into Pivot, but right now you can't put a picture in there. But there she is, and she's an associate professor at the School of Applied Social Sciences at Case Western. And if we scroll down, you'll see there's her CV, her personal website, publication page. So there's different kinds of websites that you can add to a profile. And we'll actually go out and crawl these websites too, and basically index all that information. There's her statement of expertise. And if we come down a little further, there's her affiliations. Many profiles also have past affiliations to indicate, that they were at a different school before. So the fact, and I can tell because she says my research, and the fact that there's a picture, she or somebody representing her has updated her profile. Affiliations, there's communities, and basically these are, they're sort of like those keywords, but they're different. They're based on affiliation. So what departmental affiliation is she, will assign one or more of these communities. Degrees, some have keywords, some don't. That's just the individual adding some more information to make the index better. There's publications, and you can actually look at the abstracts of some of these. So in other words, these are papers she's written, and there's the co-authors and all the source information for those. And then other details like honors and awards. Sometimes you'll see information about grants that they've won, associations they belong to, languages that they speak. It really varies from one individual to the next. And then there's that advisor match down in the lower right corner here, and of course her contact information. Now, because she's claimed her profile, she can click Update, and it's going to go out and open up a new page, and it goes to this feedback form. By the way, if you're using Internet Explorer 9 or higher, and you go to try to update your profile, you'll probably get a blank page that loads, or at least one that has no tabs on it. That's a known compatibility issue. Thank you, Internet Explorer. We're working on that. That will be fixed, but in the meantime, if you have to update your profile, use Firefox or Chrome or Safari, and they'll be able to do it. But basically, this is now, Kathleen could come in and say, well, I'm actually published under a different name, or, different, even different initials as far as treatments of the name, new email addresses or web pages, degrees, affiliations, etc. So all that stuff can be updated. If you do want to update your profile, just be aware it doesn't happen immediately. It's all editorially controlled, so it goes off to the editors. They'll have to approve it. And essentially, it's not like we're going to not take your word for what you say is your expertise, but we also want to make sure you're not saying, well, I'm the dean of physics at Oxford University, and when you're not, or creating fake profiles or something. We want to have some, control to make sure the content is good. So basically what happens is you would submit it, you'll get an email saying we've received your changes, an editor looks at it, it usually takes a day or two. It can take as much as 10 days to show up in the profile, just because we have a sort of a cycle for when we load new information, but that's sort of the outside amount of time it would take. I'm going to talk about claiming here in a second, but let me just talk about searching profiles too. This is a little simpler than funding. You can either do the quick search up here, or you can go to the Profiles tab, and again there's a quick search box, or there's also an advanced search. All the same rules apply in terms of putting phrases in quotes and using an asterisk for truncation and that kind of thing. So I can come in here. I'm looking for experts on addiction, and I can specify either just show me those within the university or beyond. So in this case there's 57, whereas there's over 21,000 outside. You can filter your results by those communities. So I could say, actually, I'm looking for someone in addiction and in the context of education. And that narrows it down to 3 people at Case Western. Also, there's advanced search. That takes you to a new advanced search form. Refining will take you to the advanced search form with all your terms already populated. And this is where you specify search within University of Verne or also include other schools. Choose which fields you're searching. You can search by name if you're looking for a specific person. And then, things like what degrees they have, what roles they have at the university, associations, affiliations, or countries. If you want to see, I'm looking for a researcher in addiction in, I don't know, Argentina. Oops. That's the funny search. I did something funny there. Now, let me talk a little bit about claiming. So she's already got a profile. I'll show you what it looks like if it's not claimed and what you can do, and also how you can suggest a profile if we don't have you in there yet. So I'm going to choose someone I know doesn't have one. My example here. So if you log in and you go up to your name there and you see it says claim profile, you can click on that just like it shows here in the upper right corner. And what it will do is look up your name in the database and try to find any matches. Now in this case it's saying, okay, Patrick, you don't have any matches. What you can do is, you see over here on the left where it says can't find your profile, you can click on suggest a scholar, and that comes out to a page, and this is again going to that feedback site where again you have to put in your name. I'm going to put in somebody I know is not in there. And then it's going to take you to a form that you fill out. And there's certain fields you have to put in, others are optional. But I'll just say, like, one thing you can do is you can just fill in the basic information, and if you fill in your websites, like if you have a CV page or something like that, that's one way to sort of, the editors can pull some information off of that. They'll have to do it manually, but at least you won't have to do it, right? So that's a way to suggest if you're not in there. But if you are in there, it would look something like this. So, there's 153 John Smiths in our database. And in fact, if you look, like, especially if you're coming from another school, if you've been elsewhere, it's possible we have a profile, but it's from that previous affiliation. So, in this case, including outside institutions, it pulls up this list, and you'll see, I can click on each one to view it, and on the right, there's a This Is Me button, or it says it's already claimed. And basically, if I say, yep, that's me, it's like, all right, let's go, and it's got to verify. So what it will do is, if it matches your email address that you used to sign up for your account, it'll say, okay, we're going to send you an email. Click on that verification link, and now you've claimed your profile. So now you can update it. Now you can get those advisor matches. In this case, it's saying, well, your email address doesn't match, so we have to make sure you are who you say you are. And you click next, and then there's a little form you fill out, goes to the editors, and basically you just have to give us some kind of evidence, a website or something that shows that you are affiliated, and then we'll do that. So that said, you can still use Pivot even if you don't have a profile and still get quite a lot out of it, like we saw with all the searching and tracking and sharing. But the advisor matches, you have to have that claim profile, and then to be able to update and keep it current. We will review and try to keep it current, but again, we're just basing that off of, some of it's automated, and we're basing that off of those websites. So, that process is never going to be as smart as you are when it comes to updating that information, or, as targeted and accurate. When you're doing searching, put in a search, refine it, kind of go back and forth. We don't have that mind reading module developed yet. So, you've got to be able to speak its language right now in terms of being able to get the best results. But, those keyword searches and those advisor matches, sometimes those will surface things like, oh, that's interesting. And especially if you find something that's like, this is exactly what I'm looking for, read the whole thing, see what language they use, see what keywords are assigned to it, and then search on those. And, sometimes you'll find some other things. All right, I've said a mouthful. And I want to open it up to questions, but let me just conclude here by pointing out some help resources that we have. In the upper right corner of every page, there's a help link. And this just goes out to our help page where we've got lots of FAQs and user guides on specific topics. I mentioned earlier search tips. That's under Finding Funding Ops. It's the last item. This page explains, basically how to use all the conventions to use when populating those fields in the search form. So that's pretty handy. Also, right below that, there's user online training. We have lots of materials here. There's a webinar schedule. And basically, this is, you don't need to go to one of these because now you've received the training for it. But if you have colleagues or if you want to brush up on it later, perhaps you can attend one of these. And basically, these are open to anybody to attend, free of charge. They're conducted by a trainer, often me, sometimes others. And there's several each month. We also have some recorded ones here. So anybody can attend those. We've also got a YouTube channel with some tutorial videos on it. There's a quick start guide. And this can be pretty handy. In fact, if you have the opportunity today or at least in the next few days to get into Pivot and practice, please do, because when it's fresh in your mind. But this quick start guide can kind of also point you in the right direction too when you're getting back into it. So there's lots of stuff here. And of course, there's over here on the right, there's a link to contact the help desk. That's an email form. If you scroll down to the bottom, there's a contact link and there's a phone number too. So if you need to talk to somebody to get help, we do this. It's a revolutionary concept in tech support. If you call, a person answers the phone and says, "Can I help you?" It's crazy. I don't know how long we'll be able to keep doing that, honestly, but they're a helpful group of people too. So, if you run into problems or have questions, and rely on tech support and all the other material here. So I know we're at we're almost right at 1 o'clock here. Any questions before we wrap up?